This screencast is going to explain what we mean by markets. It may be a term that you're not familiar with. It comes from the business community, but it's very helpful in doing social analysis in other respects. So once you've watched this screencast, then you can begin your own market research. So I'm going to turn to the Digication ePortfolio, and the perspective we're beginning with is the market. And this is a set of needs that is being addressed by particular organizations. But we'll get to the organizations later. The first step is to really understand what the market is, what the needs are of your challenge question. As you begin to identify and describe the particular needs, you may want to use the language of human rights, how rights are being violated, or how human needs are not being met. You could also frame it in terms of what are the conditions for human flourishing. And these concepts, human rights, human dignity, human flourishing, are all concepts in Catholic social teaching. And as you describe what people need, this will be shaped by religious worldview, because all religions and all cultures have some vision of what human flourishing is, what humans need. One thought, you don't have to do this, but one suggestion is to pick a particular person, a single person, and this could be a fictitious person or it could be a real person, a real case study, and give us a sense of a day in the life of this person to understand the particular needs. So if you're getting at hunger, you may want to pick a child living in a refugee camp in Somalia, for example. What does that child eat? Where do they get their food? As a way of getting into hunger or immigration. You could also do the same with gun violence. What's it like to be a teenager or a grammar school student in a region that's plagued by gun violence? And this really is to paint the picture of what your challenge question is. So that's the first task. The second task right here is to begin to segment your market. By segmenting, I mean dividing it into different subsets. And you could do this demographically. You could do it by race, socioeconomic status, culture, language, age groups. You could also do it regionally. So think of this from a corporate perspective. Nike, for example, doesn't just sell sports apparel. They have segmented into age and demographic groups exactly where they want to focus, and they design products to meet that particular demographic. The same concept applies here. So what are the different segments of the market? One way to do this, as I said before, is regionally. You may want to even focus on the core challenge in Chicago or a neighborhood of Chicago. So if you're talking about food deserts, I don't know, North Lawndale or something like that, that will give you a better sense of both the breadth and scope of this problem, but also it will give you insight into particular solutions. To use the analogy of flying a plane, you want to have a 50,000 foot view of this problem. What does it look like in all of the United States or in all of the world? But at some point you're going to need to land the plane so people can get off and other people can get on. And that's what I mean by being very focused and specific with your market segment. Then you're going to choose a target market. And that's going to be the subset of the market that you want to focus on. And you could do this regionally, you could do this demographically, you could do this culturally. All of these things, the need, the segmentation, and the target market, will in some way be informed by religious worldviews. So as much as you can, try to identify how that influences your core challenge. As with the other sections, be sure to reference your resources in the annotated bibliography, and make sure that this section is not just a collection of your first impressions or assumptions. This should demonstrate considerable research, and it should have some data. So when you're talking about the size of the market, if you're talking about homelessness, for example, give your reader a sense of numbers. Be sure to include numbers. How many homeless people are there? You could divide this homeless men, homeless women, homeless families in Chicago in the United States. How do we define homelessness? And all of those things will need to be referenced to demonstrate that you have done considerable research. So as I'm evaluating this, I'm going to look at your clarity, how specific you are, how you demonstrate research in your evidence, and to what extent you can analyze the influence of religion or religious worldview.